in the Ketu South constituency of the Nerve Center and World Bank of the Great NDC, the Volta region. Today we shall be addressing you on the military siege in the eastern border towns and other parts of the country, specifically the military siege in the Volta region and the Oti regions. But before we proceed, let me introduce a few of the dignitaries we have here this morning. We have the regional chairman of the National Democratic Congress in the Volta region. That is Honorable Henry Kwadwo Ametefe. We also have the regional secretary, Honorable James Gunu, is here with us. And we have other regional executives of the NDC. I can see the organizer, Honorable George Lowe, the vice chairman is here, the regional youth organizer, and other regional executives who are here are all duly acknowledged. Again, let me introduce to you the Deputy Minority Leader and MP for Ketu North, Honorable James Kluche Aveji. Again, let me introduce to you the Member of Parliament for Ho West and the Chairman of the NDC MP's caucus in the Volta region, Honorable Emmanuel Kwesi Bedra. So once I have introduced Chairman, let me duly acknowledge all members of Parliament in the Volta region who are herein present and indicate that this press conference is being organized by the National Communication Bureau in collaboration with the Volta MP caucus. And so all our hard-working members of Parliament are duly acknowledged. Again, let me introduce a very special personality we have here, our parliamentary candidates and the incoming MP for Ketu South, Honorable Jifa Gumashe. So all parliamentary candidates from other constituencies in the Volta region and other parts of the country who are here are all welcome. And let me welcome our friends from the media who have traveled from far places to attend this all-important press conference. Welcome all Ghanaians who are tuned to the several media networks covering this press briefing event live across the 16 regions of Ghana. Again, ladies and gentlemen, let me acknowledge that this press briefing is live on the official NDC Ghana page on Twitter and YouTube, on Wezo TV on Facebook and YouTube, Graphic Online's page on Facebook, and Radio Go's page on Facebook. In the Volta region, we are being aired live on Volta 1 television in Ho, Sela Radio 97.1 at Dabala, Global 105.1 FM Ho, Swiss 93.7 FM Ho, Lukusi Radio 96.1, Dela Radio 105.7, Denyiba Radio 104.7, Shine FM 96.9, Holy FM 98.5, Jubilee Radio 106.9, and Kekeli Radio 102.9. In the Greater Accra region, we are live on GH1 Television, Joy News Television, Pan-African TV, Power 97.9 FM, Class 91.3 FM, Accra 100.5 FM, and Ahoto 92.3 FM. In the course of the briefing, I shall be acknowledging the other radio stations who are carrying this press briefing event live. Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much time, we shall proceed with the reason why we are here. But first, let me acknowledge a very important personality in our midst, don't know whether I should add the titles, but those of us in the NDC know him. He's somebody we've all learned under his feet, great inspiration to the youth in the NDC. And we continue to learn. He's a former National Security Coordinator. He's been former Minister for Information, and so on. I'm referring to our own uncle, Kofi Tutubi Kwache, who is here with us. We know that, as Edmund Beck said, the only way evil triumphs is when good people refuse to do nothing. And so we have resolved to do something. We have resolved to speak against the attempt by the despotic Akufo Addo government to manipulate the 2020 general elections by marginalizing a vast section of the Ghanaian society who they consider averse to their cause. And ladies and gentlemen, to address us on this issue is the Member of Parliament for the Ketu South constituency, my good friend and mentor, the most successful communication officer, then propaganda secretary of the NDC, Honorable Fifi Fiavekwete.
Thank you very much, my younger brother, Sami Jemfi. I like to call him my younger brother in whom my spirit is very well pleased. And let me begin by acknowledging all the comrades of our great party who are here, colleague, members of parliament, all the various leaders of our party. And let me also thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the media, for the opportunity to share with you some very important developments that are going on in our country today. It's our expectation that through your esteemed media, we will convey to our fellow countrymen the grave danger that we see looming over our beloved nation. This danger comes clothed in the garment of democracy, but in reality, it is naked despotism and tyranny. Now, the immediate reason for this press conference is the recent shocking mass deployment of military personnel along the border towns of the Volta region. And similar deployment has been done in the Oti region, the northern region, the upper west and upper east regions as well. It is no coincidence that all these places happen to be strongholds of the opposition NDC. We will this morning touch particularly on the situation in the Ketu South municipality and other parts of the Volta region. We are in no doubt that this massive deployment of the military and other security personnel in the Ketu South municipality and other border towns of our region has been timed to coincide with the commencement of the voter registration exercise across the country. These deployments are creating panic and anxiety among residents of Ketu South and other affected towns and districts. Interviews done by some of your colleagues in the media reveal that residents along the Ghana-Togo border are living in a state of fear due to the presence of the military. The MC of Ketu South, who represent the presence here, has explained that the reason for the deployment of the military personnel is so that they can help check and approve routes to prevent foreigners who happen to be infected with COVID-19 from coming from neighboring Togo and risk increasing the cases of COVID in our country. Now, this position has been supported by the Volta Regional Minister, Dr. Lecha, as well. Now, so this is the official government explanation for the turning of Aplau and other border towns in the region into virtual war zones. How laughable, how utterly ridiculous. The total COVID-19 case count in Togo stands at about 615. This is less than the case count in Greater Accra, less than Ashanti region, less than the Western region, less than the Central region, and just about 75 cases above the case count in the Eastern region. Now, so if there is any fear of COVID, it should rather be the people of Togo who should be afraid of Ghanaians crossing the border to spread COVID-19 in Togo, and not the other way around. The epicenter of COVID-19 in West Africa is not Togo. Ghana is in a very comfortable lead and struggling to be one of the highest as far as the region is concerned. So, and also, one of the first persons who came into our country with the virus was in the presidential entourage in Oslo. So this official reason being provided is not just hollow, it is laughable and actually represents an insult to the intelligence of our people. Just a few days ago, the MPP parliamentary primaries across different constituencies became virtual COVID-19 dissemination conferences. If the MPP government is looking for the real threats of COVID-19, they really don't have to look very far. They should just spare us the cock and bull stories about the need to patrol the borders to stop foreigners from coming with COVID-19, and they should have the courage to simply tell the truth for once. MPP MP Katie Hammond, in a recent interview, at least showed some honesty when he unwittingly disclosed what is obviously the real reason behind the deployment of the military along our borders. He revealed that the deployment of troops in Ketu South and other eastern border towns is to prevent Togolese from coming across the border to come and register. Voila. We need no rocket scientists to understand that the grand agenda of the MPP is to intimidate our steaming supporters and make it difficult for them to come out in their numbers to register when the registration exercise begins tomorrow, Tuesday, the 30th of June. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, to understand the real reason behind this massing up of military and other security personnel in the Ketu South municipality and other towns of the Volta region, it is important that we try to help this country to see the big picture. Now, this big picture is MPP's perennial discrimination against the people of the Volta region. The bottom line is that, as far as the MPP is concerned, the people of the Volta region are foreigners. The others are not Ghanaians. Now, some people who do not really know this might be surprised about this statement, but we are going to systematically leave you in no doubt as to the authenticity of this statement. To begin with, let us remind everyone, especially the young people of Ghana, that the MPP family has been on record accusing the founder of our country, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, of being a foreigner. Specifically, they said he was from Liberia. a member of the same NPP family, also took President Rawlings to court over claims that he was not a Ghanaian. The mother of President Rawlings hails from Keta in the Volta region, just next door to Ketu South. President Rawlings was born in the Gold Coast in 1947. He served this country as an Air Force officer, became the head of state of this beloved country. Despite all this, the NPP deemed him not good enough to be a Ghanaian. After all, in the view of the NPP, who have always believed that they are the owners of Ghana, Keta is not part of Ghana. If President Rawlings, despite hailing from Keta in the Volta region, was deemed not to be a Ghanaian, why is anyone in shock when we state that the NPP has an ingrained belief that the people of the Volta region are aliens and therefore not to be allowed to determine the political destiny of Ghana? Keta, by the way, where Rawlings hailed from, has always been a part of the Gold Coast. In fact, both Keta and Ketu districts have always been an integral part of the Gold Coast. They have never at any point in time been part of Togo. But not in the view of the owners of Ghana. Now, so many other sons and daughters of the Volta region have faced similar discrimination in the hands of the NPP. Some of you may recall how in the year 2009, at my parliamentary vetting to become a deputy minister of finance in the government of President Mills, NPP MPs, following the same agenda, boldly claimed that I was not a Ghanaian and therefore should not be allowed to become a member of Ghana's government. My father, Joseph Kofi Kwete, hails from Nogoko in the Ketu South constituency. His mother comes from Anyako in the Keta constituency. But in the opinion of the owners of Ghana, I am not a Ghanaian. My mother, Benonia Lomado Aivo, hails from Denu and Kliko, both in the Ketu South constituency. But in the opinion of the owners of Ghana, myself and all the people of Ketu South that I have the privilege of representing in parliament are not worthy to be called Ghanaians. Now, it is against this background that we need to view what the NPP is doing in Ketu South and other border towns of the Volta region. This siege of the Volta region dates back to NPP's perennial hatred towards any group of people that they perceive as standing between them and their insatiable desire for absolute political power. The unfounded and rather incoherent rantings of my friend K.T. Hammond will ordinarily be treated as just that, but they reveal the same deep-seated belief that somehow the defeat of the NPP in elections in this country is on account of foreigners who come from Togo. He actually claimed that the NPP was costing to victory in the first round of the 2008 elections, and Togolese were allowed to come from across the border to overturn the results in the second round of the 2008 elections. Somehow, K.T. Hammond and the NPP have forgotten that even back in 2008, the NPP left all other borders open, but specifically closed the eastern border of this country before and during the first and second round of the 2008 elections. So the defeat of the NPP in the year 2008 had absolutely nothing to do with foreigners coming from Togo, because the borders were sealed. Exactly what it is we are seeing today. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, this show of tribal hatred did not start today. The Nana Akufo Addo's government is only taking it to a whole new level. This deep-seated animosity comes from a sense of entitlement. They believe that because they are superior Ghanaians, all others who do not share their political perspective must be deemed ineligible, so that the political destiny of Ghana will remain exclusively in their hands. Now, the people of Côte d'Ivoire have suffered largely from that same sense of entitlement, that superior feeling of being better Ivorians. Now, the concept known in French as ivoirieté, that is, being a proper Ivorian, led to the unfortunate and bloody civil war that almost destroyed the hitherto very peaceful country of La Côte d'Ivoire. During President Konan Bedie's presidency, ethnic tensions rose sharply, with a widening rift between the country's predominantly Muslim north and mainly Christian south. Before the 1995 and 2000 elections, a law drafted by President Konan Bedie and upheld by the Supreme Court of Ivory Coast required that both parents of a presidential candidate had to be born within Côte d'Ivoire. This led to the disqualification of the northern presidential candidate Alassane Ouattara, who represented the predominantly Muslim north and poor settler workers who worked on coffee and cocoa plantations in the south. We in Ghana are grateful to God that despite the perennial attempt of the MPP family to define who a proper Ghanaian is, we as a country have largely avoided the path of national disintegration and bloody ethnic conflict. But just as ivoirieté is dangerous in Ivory Coast, so also is Ghanaité iniquitous and dangerous in Ghana. It is high time the NPP family were told once and for all that the fact that they never once won any election against Dr. Kwame Nkrumah had nothing to do with foreigners. Nkrumah was beloved by most of the people of Ghana and won elections freely and fairly. The founder of the NPP family, Dr. J.B. Danquah, could not even win one single election in his lifetime. Not even one. Now, instead of addressing their political groups' perennial loss in elections, the NPP rather chooses to direct their venom and hatred towards innocent groups and accuse them of being aliens. It should be recalled that this was the main reason that the NPP family introduced the Aliens Compliance Order back in 1969. A wicked legislation introduced by them when they finally won through manipulation the 1969 elections after orchestrating to have the CPP banned. What cowards and manipulators they have always been. Now it is high time the NPP family were informed that their humiliating electoral losses to President Rawlings in both the 1992 and 1996 elections had nothing to do with foreigners from Togo. The Volta region, together with 8 other regions in Ghana, voted for President Rawlings and the NDC in both 1992 and 1996. This was an overwhelming support in all the regions of Ghana except one. In fact, there is no previous election that the NDC as a party has won in Ghana that the party did not win at least 8 regions out of the 10. That tells you how absolutely overwhelming our support is. It has nothing to do with foreigners that are coming from any other part of West Africa. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, where from all this hatred and animosity towards one region, and all the spurious and unfounded claims that the painful defeats suffered by the NPP were on account of foreigners from Togo. Was it Togolese who have been winning the central region and the western region for the NDC in all the elections the party has won? Was it them who won the eastern region for the NDC in both 1992 and 1996? Was it them who win Greater Accra and Brong-Ahafo regions anytime the NDC wins the elections? Is it Togolese who always win the 3 northern regions for the NDC anytime the party wins? This heightened sense of delusion, this refusal on the part of the NPP to accept the naked truth must come to an end. Both Nkrumah's CPP and Rawlings' NDC did not humiliate the NPP family at the polls because of Togolese or Liberians or aliens from Jupiter or Pluto. They did so because they won the hearts and the minds of the people of Ghana through their patriotism and dedication to the well-being of Ghanaians. Now, MPP's chronic problem is that they do not have in their DNA the capacity to accept an electoral defeat. They just cannot come to terms with the fact that they cannot win every election. Maybe the delusion that Ghana is their property makes it too difficult for them to accept this reality. When they lost in 1992, it was a stolen verdict. When they lost in 1996, it was a bought verdict. In 2008, Nana Akufo-Addo used all shenanigans, including the most dastardly attempts to change figures in the strong room of the EC. But for the vigilance and the courage of the NDC in that strong room in the second round in 2008, Nana Akufo-Addo and his MPP would have succeeded to subvert the will of the people of Ghana. We have not even mentioned their failed efforts, as was captured on tape, to place dead bodies in water bodies in the Volta region as a way of subverting the will of the people of Ghana. After all these machinations failed, Nana Akufo-Addo, true to character, refused to concede and congratulate the winner of the elections, J.E.A. Mills of blessed memory. After the 2012 defeat, the MPP went on a violent spree, beating and assaulting innocent citizens at Obrasport and other places, destroying property in the process. Then, to cover their shame, they went on a face-saving journey to the Supreme Court in a bid to overturn the supreme will of the people of Ghana. They just do not have it in their genes to accept defeat. After all, how can the owners of Ghana ever lose to parties that are filled with aliens and foreigners? The only time they accept any electoral outcome is when their party wins. It is either their way or the highway. What kind of people are these? Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the anger of the MPP, anytime they lose elections, should rather be directed at their own internal campaign inadequacies. It is only chronic losers who blame others for their losses, because winners always elect to do deep introspection and self-correction when they lose. Now, rather than direct their venom towards others, so instead of MPP being angry against others for daring to deny them their God-given right to rule Ghana, it would be better for them to do a deep self-examination. As the great philosopher Socrates said, an unexamined life is not worth living. Why does the MPP family believe that they are superior Ghanaians and that they have a God-given right over the political and economic destiny of Ghana? Kwame Nkrumah's CPP, that fought for the independence of Ghana, at the time the MPP family kept begging Britain not to grant independence to our nation, did not even behave as though they were superior Ghanaians. Where were these tribal bigots who think they own Ghana when Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, ably aided by Volta region's Dr. Agbeli Bedema and other nationalists, declared the motion of independence on the eve of our independence? Where were they? Where were these tribal bigots who think Ghana is their property when Kwame Nkrumah, Agbeli Bedema, and others fought to keep Ghana as one unitary state, one nation, one people, one destiny? At a time when the MPP family was busily fighting for Ghana to be made a federal state so that each region can keep its own resources. To keep this beloved country united, Kwame Nkrumah had to pass the Avoidance of Discrimination Act in 1957 to outlaw political parties based on regional, ethnic, or religious differences. Where were these tribal bigots all those times? Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, Agbeli Bedema, and all who want independence for Ghana never once contemplated betraying this beloved nation. They never once stooped so low as to become paid agents of any foreign power to work against the interests of their own country. But we know that declassified files of the CIA will reveal that the same cannot be said about the main founder of the MPP family, Dr. J.B. Dankwa, the beloved uncle of President Akufo-Addo. Yet, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and Agbeligbedema never once believed that they were more Ghanaian than others. What gives the MPP family the moral right to think that they are superior Ghanaians? President Rawlings and the many patriots, one of whom sitting right on my right, who toiled with him from 1982 to 1992 to lead this nation from the brink of collapse at a time when things had sunk so low and the self-belief and confidence of our people were so shattered that some of our brothers at the time were moving in droves to Togo to work as shoe shine boys. And some of our sisters left to Nigeria and Cote d'Ivoire and had to prostitute themselves just to be able to survive. Rawlings and these many patriots who through sweat and dedication rallied the great people of Ghana back to the place where once again we become a nation that was respected and admired among our peers, have never claimed that they were superior Ghanaians. Where were these tribal bigots when this massive reconstruction of our country was being done? Where were they when this group of patriots worked tirelessly to bequeath to this country the 1992 Constitution that today has become the foundation of political stability, upon which all sons and daughters of Ghana, north, south, east, and west, are working hard to construct a Ghana that will become a great and strong nation under God? Where were these tribal bigots all this while? Now, the earlier the MPP family snapped out of this pathological delusion that some Ghanaians are foreigners and only they are proper Ghanaians, the better it will be for all of Ghana. The respect for all Ghanaians, north, south, east, and west, is crucial in our endeavor to be able to hold hands together in a true spirit of brotherhood, as envisaged by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah at the time of our nation's independence. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the massive deployment of the security forces along the border towns is just one of the several desperate means the MPP government is employing to achieve its political ends. We in Ketu South and the Volta region are not completely shocked at all. Why should we be? Have we not seen the brutal violence unleashed on innocent Ghanaians in broad daylight during the Ayawaso West Wuogon by-elections? The whole world witnessed in shock how this despotic regime turned a simple by-election into a war front and resulted to the criminal abuse of power. We were witnesses to the egregious bloodletting by a gang of MPP brigands and bandits masquerading as national security personnel with the tacit approval of the President of the Republic, who also happens to be the chairman of the National Security Council. Now, to confirm that the hoodlums operated with the tacit approval of the regime, the president, who touts his democratic credentials, blatantly refused to implement critical recommendations of the commission that he himself had set up. How tragic, how shameful. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, this is the same game plan the MPP is following. A plan which today has reduced an electoral commission that has since 1992 gained international recognition and neutrality for its neutrality, professionalism, and credibility, into a pliant instrument to subvert the will of the people of Ghana. Now, the saddest part is that while all this is going on, the MPP actually continue to delude themselves that the people of Ghana and the rest of the world cannot see the systematic efforts they are employing to bastardize the electoral system and virtually turn this nation into a banana republic. Same things the MPP is doing with institutions like the NIA and the NCA. The NCA has become the state institution that is being used under the guise of enforcement of regulations to close down media houses that are perceived to be too critical of the regime. Freedomhouse.org, an international media freedom watchdog, recently described the modus operandi of regimes like that of Nana Akufo-Addo. Regimes that pretend to respect the rule of law, but in reality are leaving no stone unturned to subvert media freedoms. Governments according to media.com, according to freemedia.org, governments are using the most subtle tools of media regulations to restrict press freedoms, maintaining a veneer of legality and pluralism that is less likely to draw attention and criticism from abroad. Manipulation of the regulatory framework allows them to either tolerate or rein in influential news outlets, depending on the political situation, and permit even democratically elected government to fortify themselves against future electoral competition. Now, the above accurately describes the shameful methods being used by the Akufo-Addo government. Now, when concerns are raised, the president quickly points to regulations and laws. He has so soon forgotten that even apartheid was backed by legislation. Even the trade and ownership of black slaves in America was legal in the US until the year 1865. The Aliens Compliance Order, which they often denounce, I'm talking about the MPP family, denounce all the time, was also backed by law. Now, the undemocratic ways of this regime are bad enough. The high-handedness is terrible enough. But what adds insult to injury is when they actually pretend to be the custodians of the rule of law and the civil liberties and of democracy. What hypocrites they are. Christ refers to people such as these as whitewashed graves. In Matthew 23:28, Christ described this type of pretenders in the following words: "Woe unto you, hypocrites! You are like whitewashed graves, which look beautiful on the outside, but on the inside are full of dead men's bones and everything unclean." To our friends in the MPP, remember, God is not mocked. Whatsoever you sow, that you shall reap. And the earlier you awoke to that realization, the better. So don't forget that the day of reckoning will soon come. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, all those watching this development, this very sad development, and not raising their voices, are through their silence encouraging the entrenchment of an oppressive and tyrannical regime. Those watching this looming danger but failing to speak up and condemn it should remember that their silence makes them accomplices, and posterity will judge them if their own conscience fails to do so. We urge them to speak up and let the MPP government and others who think alike appreciate that citizenship is not a question of law, it's a question of law. Neither the government of Akufo-Addo nor the military contingent stationed all over our border towns cannot decide who is or who is not a citizen of Ghana. Now, there are very many Ghanaian families that live on both sides of the Ghana-Togo border. Lomé, just about 10 minutes away from here, the capital of Togo, is a major economic center. It is a commercial and educational hub that attracts Ghanaians from as far as the western region, the Ashanti region, the eastern region, and so many other parts of this country. The government of Ghana, not too long ago, sent NADMO across the border to make available relief items to Ghanaians resident in Togo. This is ample evidence that there are many Ghanaians who live and work in Togo. Ghanaians do not cease to become Ghanaians just because they live across the border. Just as they do not cease to be Ghanaians simply because they live and work in England or in the United States of America. Now, many of us have heard the famous case of Bonito Olympio, who proved in court in Ghana that he was a Ghanaian by descent, even though his father Sylvanus Olympio was the first president of Togo. The Olympios descend from the Amegashi family, a family that to date continues to live both in Ghana and Togo. Now, for the information of our friends, the tribal bigots, who continue to insinuate that they are more Ghanaian than the rest of us, we want to inform them that the Amegashis who live in Togo are not foreigners. they continue to be Ghanaians by descent, even if some of them opt for dual nationality. Let me now seize the opportunity to mention a few other families who hail from Ghana and who have relatives living and working across the border. The Fitis, the Adamas, the Akolaches, the Ajavons, the Tetes, the Malos, the Akapos, the Atipos, the Amuzus, the Folis, the Koshigans, the Griniskis, the Senus. These are no aliens. Just because they live in Togo, they continue to be Ghanaians by descent. The Bedemas, the Gajekos, the Agbomabiases, the Megashitis, the Ganyos, the Antonios, the Adejes, the Quists, the Blagojis, the Kukubos, the Tamaklos, the Duces. If I'm incidentally talking about Duce, one of the Duce family today is the current foreign minister of Togo. Wow. The Apalus, the Baites, and my own maternal families, the Aivons, the Romados, the Badohuns, the Kudaus, the Amatos, have not morphed into aliens from Pluto or Jupiter just because some of them live and work in Togo. They remain as much Ghanaians as the Akufo Addos, the Osafo Mafos, and all the other tribal bigots in the NPP. As for the few of our own ever brethren who have allowed the NPP, their NPP affiliation to blind them to the point of taking part in a fake documentary which has been circulating in the media, purporting that those who come from across the border to register are not Ghanaians, may our ancestors have mercy upon them. Now we want to remind the good people of Ketu South and the Volta region and the sons of Volta region in all the other 15 regions of Ghana that this massive intimidation that they are seeing and hearing of today will, by December 7th of this year, be no more. The Egyptians you see today, you shall soon see them no more. Therefore, this is not the time for fear. This is the moment for courage. This is the moment for bravery. Remember that in the same way in the year 2008, the NPP orchestrated to close the eastern borders, but the great people of Ketu South and the Volta region defied all odds and came out in massive numbers to support the NDC to snatch the parliamentary victory from the NPP in the first round and defeat the NPP in the presidential election in the second round. That same inspiration is what is needed today to rise up to the current challenge. The same spirit of boldness and defiance that inspired us in 2008 should animate us even more today. Because if we thought the government of President Akufo was bad, then this current one can only be described as the most desperate, the most dangerous, the most intolerant, and the most abysmal in the history of our country. Ketu South and the Volta region have proven before that they are capable of rising to the challenge when it is critical to reject the misrule of the NPP. Let us once more come out in our multitudes, defy the intimidation, and register massively in order to let this oppressive, desperate government of tribal bigots get out of power. We wish to call on the supporters of the NDC all over Ghana to rise up and refuse to be intimidated during the registration exercise which begins tomorrow. We want at this stage to salute our flag bearer and leader of our party, who actually has said that where there is a will, there is a way. And therefore, NDC, have faith, because victory beckons us. Destiny is on our side. We also want to salute the founder of our party, President Rawlings, for releasing a very strong statement to condemn the intimidation that is going on along the eastern border. Finally, I want to say that the courts of the people of Ghana, under the influence of the only Supreme Court in heaven, will speak on December 7th. I repeat, the court of the people of Ghana, under the influence of the only Supreme Court of heaven, will speak on December 7th. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory shall be. So may God help us to resist oppressors' rule with all our will and our might forevermore. Amen.
Of the land towards a secure future development, our goal from victory unto victory, the end is we shall lead a stable democratic Ghana, our strength in unity. Thank you. Honorable Fifi Kweti, thank you very much for that bold, that passionate, and that excellent presentation. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the message is simple. Voltarians are not aliens. We are all Ghanaians. Nobody is inferior and nobody is superior. We are all Ghanaians. The massive deployment of the military and other security personnel in the Volta region is targeted at excluding the people of this region from the impending voter registration exercise, thereby suppressing the voter population in this region to manipulate the upcoming general elections. We are saying enough is enough. We will not accept that. If President Akufo feels that he has performed, let us fight this election on a level playing field. That is the signal we are sending to him and his despotic, ethnocentric government from Aflau today. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause again for our speaker. At this stage, before we open the floor for questions, I will invite the chairman of the Volta MP caucus to make a brief statement. But let me, before he does so, let me acknowledge, Choboy, let me acknowledge another son of this region who, I call him the Choboy man. He is elections director of the great NDC, Comrade Elvis Efie Ankra. He's here. And before we leave, he will be addressing us on some issues pertaining to the voter registration exercise, which is scheduled to commence tomorrow. And so at this stage, with a round of applause, let us welcome to the microphone Honorable Bedra, MP for Ho West. Thank you.
Thank you, our National Communication Officer. Colleagues, comrades, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the caucus, I want to read a statement from the overlord of Aflao traditional area. This morning, he was on the radio, and this is what he said. Please note that because we are peace-loving does not make us cowards. When the fire is lit, there will be no turning back. And the said fire will consume everything on its way. This is Togbe Fiti Amenya, the fifth, the paramount chief of Aflao traditional area. On behalf of the Volta caucus, members of parliament, and on behalf of the regional executive, we want to thank the National Communication Bureau that today they decided that the weekly briefing of the press will be done in the Volta region. We want to salute you, Sami Jemfi and his crew, and all the media personnel who travel all the way from Accra, Ho, and elsewhere to this place. I also want to thank my colleagues from the regional executives, as well as the national executives and members of parliament who decided to join us on this press briefing. Ladies and gentlemen, the fire has been lit, and we the Voltarians are ready. We are not cowards. I want to repeat that. We are not cowards. We don't fear people. We only respect. And therefore, whoever has deployed the military personnel to our borders should call them back immediately. We are giving them up to the end of tomorrow, Tuesday. The military personnel must be recalled back to their barracks. There is no war between Ghanaians and Togolese. We are peace-loving people, and therefore we will continue to love everybody equal. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, at this stage, if you have a question, you can raise up your hand. We'll pass the microphone to you, and you can ask your question. But please, you only raise up your hand if you are a journalist. Is there any question? I saw Kwamla Kluche here. Okay, I can see a lot of hands here. So, my microphone man, no, because of COVID, you get close to him and then offer him the microphone to speak without him holding the microphone. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. My name is Addo and I report for gbconline.com, Accra. I wish to direct my question first of all to the caucus chairperson, the chairman, the Honorable Bedra. You said the military should be recalled within or by close of tomorrow. May I know how you're going to monitor this and should the government refuses to withdraw these military people? And also to the MP for the area who addressed the media, may I know what exactly or what plans that you have to monitor or to ensure that people within the localities that these military are protected or guided to go and register? Because we understand that people think that when you talk about Ketu South or Aplau, it's just the main border. When you go to Agbogboma, you go to Afonyokopa, those typical communities are not close to the main city. the implementation are so high there. I was there myself. So may I know how you're going to ensure that people come out in their number to register as part of your duty as political party to ensure that people register and vote on the day of national election?
Thanks for that intelligent question. It shows that you are disturbed about the deployment yourself. So can we take the next question?
Emmanuel Majesty, my question has to do with Honorable Hammond.
Media.
Yeah, Salah Radio, Dabala.
Okay.
My question has to do with Honorable Katie Hammond. I would like to find out, we have a privileged committee in the Ghana Parliament. What our MPs, that is the voter MPs caucus, what mechanism are they putting into place so that when they leave here, and they can, summon the Honorable Katie Hammond to answer some questions pertaining Votarians and not Ghanaians. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I saw a hand in the middle here. Can you bring it? Kamla Kluchi of TV3.
So, two quick ones. One dovetails into the first one that Ejona asked. To the chairman of the caucus, you have given an ultimatum that by the close of Tuesday, the security or the military should be withdrawn if it doesn't happen. What are you going to do? Now, with the issue of the ethnic or the tribal things that you have raised, the question to the Honorable Fifi Kwete is, how do you respond to criticisms that you are inflaming passions using the tribal card? How do you respond to that?
Thank you, Kamla. Please, any other question? Okay, I see one hand here.
Ibrahim Al-Hassan, GH1 TV, Star FM. One quick question. We are aware that when COVID came, there were some deployments made up of the military, the immigration, and what have you. That one is different from what we're talking about today. I'm aware of that. So when you call for withdrawal, are you targeting the recent deployment only, or the withdrawal of the entire deployment along the borders?
Okay, so thank you very much. We have two questions on the deadline we have given government to recall the military personnel who have been deployed here. And those two questions will be dealt with by Honorable Bezra. After which, our regional chairman who is here will deal with the question of what we are doing to protect our people in the other border, towns. And then we will deal with the rest. Honorable Fifi Kwete will deal with the ones about the inflaming passions on tribal lines. Thank you very much. So, Honorable Bezra, over to you.
Thank you very much, TV3 and Ejona. I want to assure all of us that the caucus has Plan B, and that Plan B will not be disclosed today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In fact, colleagues are here, so please, step in to help clarify some other things as well, if we don't always fill it up. The first one relating to Honorable Katie Hammond. You were asking whether we can ensure that he's taken before the Privileges Committee for what he has said. To be honest, when you commit some of these what I call goofs, the best punishment is actually to get you exposed. Okay, exposing you actually is some of the best punishment. I don't really necessarily think, maybe colleague MPs and I would think about it, but we don't really think that it has to necessarily be Privileges Committee. And besides, don't forget, when it comes to Privileges Committee, if you are in minority, you are not going to have a lot of luck when you get there. Yeah. Now, the issue about whether we are not inflaming passions when we raise some of the issues we have raised, I was going to say that it's almost appearing like telling the relatives of George Floyd and the blacks, not just in America but all over the world, who have had knees on their neck from time immemorial and who are screaming, "We can't breathe," and telling them that when they shout, "We can't breathe," they're actually inflaming racial passions. The others can't breathe. Other lives matter. So this is simply a call for justice, a call for the nation to understand our solidarity, that together, like rainbows, we make this country great. Another man stood on the independence podium in the form of Dr. Agbeli Bedema, which means our contribution right from the very beginning of this country has been absolutely concrete. And we can't even boast about the many things that we've done. 20 years, another man took this country from the brink of collapse, together with others, and took us to where we are today. So if you say we cannot breathe, we are not asking for too much.
Fidel Castro wrote a book entitled "History Will Absorb Me." As I stand on this podium this morning, I salute everybody for being here. I have the passion that there had never been an oppressed people who would sit down to be misruled. It happened in France, it happened in several countries in the world. And I can only feel sorry for those who are ruling in this unjust environment. They are using the house of our Supreme Court that we have. That tells you and I that the common denominator for identity should be denying us because they are in charge. I feel sorry for them. How many are they? We have a plan B. And that I want to assure those who are on our borders that they should be very, very careful. The plan B will work and the everybody will be protected. I want to assure all of you from your homes, go and register wherever you are. I was the former district chief executive. I built that building there, the administrative complex there. Within 2 years I was in office, that building was put up. What are the results of MPP before they are doing this to us? Don't forget that in 1996 they declared, you know the history very well. Go back to your history and learn from it. What have they not done to CPP? But today, as a young CPP man who has now grown to become a revolutionary, we shall not forgive them. In France, when Marie Antoinette heard of the masses in the street asking for bread, do you know what he said? Give them cake. At that time in France, the ordinary man does not know what is cake. Then he told them why. They are hungry, give them cake. And that led to the assassination of Marie Antoinette. You cannot take the masses for granted. So they are driving us into the field of war. I will never sit down to be defeated. I have a message from the flag bearer of the party. Yesterday at the meeting in Iho, he called me. My brother, go ahead. I am behind you. Please, let's go ahead. Thank you very much.
Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa will deal with the outstanding questions before we move on. So, thank you very much. Honorable.
Ibrahim's question is still outstanding. The question about which of the deployments we are concerned about, whether it's the original COVID-19 deployment or the current heightened military deployment. Your question itself should expose the dishonesty that has characterized this whole government operation. We are told by the minister responsible for the interior the regional minister that this is the normal deployment they have done to prevent the further importation of COVID-19. And yet, we all know that this deployment, when it was first rolled out, did not include the military. We're all here. The immigration was at the helm of affairs, as our constitution demands. We need to understand what is the heightened threat. You invite the military when the threat levels have escalated. We are not aware of any heightened threat. We have been asking in Parliament, what is a heightened threat? In that incoherent ranting by our good friend Katie Hammond, he even suggests that the military are here for peace operations, peacekeeping. Who is at war here? Who is at war? So Aflao has become a war zone that we need the military to come and keep the peace. Can we be told who the warring factions are? Who is fighting who? How many lives have been lost? How many properties destroyed? And so we need the military, and we don't know if it's who authorized the peace mission, the peacekeeping mission, whether it's the United Nations or the African Union or ECOWAS. I mean, it gets ridiculous and more ridiculous. So please, we know what is going on. This morning we spoke to our colleagues at the Western Frontiers. There is no such deployment. All the way from the Jomoro side to Seshi-Wioso, Seshi-Akontombra, and all of you can call, even send your colleague correspondence to those areas. Are they not border towns? Why pick on Volta region? Why the discrimination? That is what we are worried about. And as our brother Fifi Kwete says, they have been consistent. You recall the 5th August 2015 press conference by Dr. Baumia, where he said that they have done some work, facial recognition technology. They've obtained the Togolese voters register. 10% of work done so far. About 80,000 Ghanaians on the register. They've discovered that they are apparently Togolese. And that in the next few days, you put out the 90%. It's been 5 years. 5 years. We are waiting for the 90%. The Togolese authorities issued a statement that they have not given their voters register to anybody. We are still waiting. 5 years on. So consistently, picking on the Volta region. We are for peace. Our chiefs are for peace. Our elders are for peace. We all want to live in unity. The national anthem of this country was composed by one of our own, Philip Beho. We have an equal stake. They don't even understand the Trans-Volta Togoland question. That major parts of the Volta region were not part of it. It's an agenda that cut across countries. From Cameroon, Benin, the Mampusi area, Dagbon area. Is how this matter even has become a Volta secessionist agenda. Distortion of history. And we know our history. We've always been part of the Ghana construct. Is it too much to ask to be respected, to be valued, to be seen as any other person? Listen to Katie Hammond. He says, they belong to one ethnic group. The Evers are here, Evers are in Togo, one ethnic group. The Akans, the Akans in Ivory Coast, across the border, Elubo. I've gone there, I've attended funerals. Beautiful Akan culture. Why is nobody talking about that? Why are they not being targeted? The Hausa-speaking people, they are the most prolific tribe in Africa. They cut across northern Nigeria, Gambia, Senegal, Ivory Coast, all over. Are we to then say the Hausa-speaking people should not be allowed to vote? They are not Ghanaians. The Fulanis Are we to say that Fulani should not be on the register? And then what would that happen? What would that mean for our beloved and cherished second lady? So please, let's stop these things. We are one people. We are Ghanaians. Let's focus on the things that matter. Our people want jobs. They want development. You can't fulfill your promises. You are just at 14%. Instead of working to inch up a bit higher to justify why you should be retained, you are whipping ethnic sentiments. So we are determined that military deployment, we will not accept it. When we are done, we will go with you to the locations. We insist that all of Ghana should be treated equally. This is a matter of justice. We are not going to accept this discrimination where you pick and target one part of Ghana. It must stop. We have intermarried, we've attended schools. Nkrumah did well with the boarding school system. We are all one people. We are Ghanaians. And let that Ghanaianness. Finally, and Sam, I must make this point very forcefully. The Ghana Armed Forces is very respected all over the world. You go to the United Nations, anytime we've attended the General Assembly meeting, they mention the Ghana Armed Forces with pride because of the exploit. This year we celebrated 60 years of the Ghana Armed Forces deployment in peace operations since the Congo deployment. Why is President Akufo Addo as Commander-in-Chief reducing the Ghana Armed Forces to some citizenship inspection unit? Why? That they respected, revered military. And we have friends in there. They are not enthused one bit. They are boiling with anger. Reducing them to a citizenship inspection unit. You look like a Togolese. You can't come here. You go back. Is that what the armed forces is for? Please, please. And as Comrade Fifi did, we salute two former commander-in-chiefs of the Ghana Armed Forces. President Jerry John Rawlings himself, a senior military officer, the flight lieutenant, one of the finest the armed forces has ever produced, and His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. You take it that all of us speaking don't know much about security matters because we've never been commander-in-chief. Two of our former presidents who have commanded the Ghana Armed Forces, who have been who have sat at the chair of the National Security Council as our constitution stipulates. Both of them do not understand what's going on. They have condemned what is happening. We must all rise up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. If a dual citizen like the nephew of President Akufo Addo Gabio Chedako can vote in Ghana, then Ghanaians who are also in Togo are Ghanaians and can also exercise their right to vote. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we have just two outstanding issues. Our Director of Elections will share some information with us with regards to the voter registration exercise, which will commence tomorrow. And then we shall take closing remarks from our parliamentary candidate and the incoming MP, Honorable Jifa Gumashi. But even before that, Chairman, our voter MP caucus, I have a message from the flag bearer and leader of the NDC, the incoming President of the Republic of Ghana, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that aside the solidarity message he has already issued, he shall be commencing his tour of the country and his tour, to observe the voter registration exercise from the voter region. And so this week, he will be at Aflao, he will be in the Ketu South constituency. At this stage, let us welcome to the podium our elections director, Honorable Elvis Afriya Ankra. Thank you.
Nongoli vale jatae, jatanga lao fiae. si o malo nyongo li vale jatai jatanya lao fiae na lao si o malo o malo o malo nyongo li vale jatai jatanya lao fiae na lao si o malo baba o malo baba o malo dongoli vale jata ya lao fiae na lao si o malo odio akpanami awoba mianovio ofonu alagbagba manyaba fifi asa yevugba ka yevugba gade amidje zomi tontole yevugba ma mi vu asine miapa amachichio kata lafia regional chairman kla magayo choge miapa incoming MP miapa caucus leader o kata mi dakpe na mi ba egba mi va dorafia enya ya jojoma Anukwariba is about the Volta region. Gaka, it goes beyond Volta region. It's about Ghana. Yes. And the peace and stability of our democracy. Na enya ya jojom lafia, miena oyijia, niye gwana jojo genya ba democracy ya 1992, mieba etukoko kuku awovo. Me nyama jimla Ghana akodada ye na naga mi akotro jidudu najaba akodada ye na naga mi akotro jidudu a nkonwonwo yenya foundation for akodada ta no bona nkonwo ga ya made dodo wom be ya naba amado mato awo anwuru nko a that person is a threat to our democracy. That is the danger we are facing. We don't want anybody to use this environment as an excuse to do. This is why we are speaking out and sending a loud and clear warning. But there is no man, no woman, no devil, no military, no police, no soldier, no Akufo that can stop the will of the people. There is nothing, absolutely nothing that can stop a determined people who are willing to stand up for their rights. We have seen it in many countries. Tunisia, Duomo, Ayodojia, Sojao, Wanto, Ogba Tuadashi, Ogba Amokadashi, Oshidu, Ojo. Because the will of the people is the most powerful force in this land. Human beings are created in the image of God. When majority of the people come together and determine to do something, there is nothing anybody can do. No electoral commission, no Supreme Court, no soldier, no parliament, nothing. There is nothing. There is a movement that is going on. The people of Ghana want change. This government has failed. They can eat all the gari in this world. They can go and drink all the sea in the Atlantic Ocean. Nothing will stop them from going down December 2020. Tamia da kukunami soja wo la diajia kafra adodo obey before complain ta afuma wo la o ma jijo komo kaka do ko do aso wo la o si Onya ba nu ya jojo mama Addo, nyaga yo maton, mi call the moto G. Mi mobilize mi amo wava ngulonko. Menyo ba mi ngulonko. Mi ngulogako anyakpo. Nkwa mi ngulogako. Nkwa mi ngulogapa. Anyaba ayi mi enu fofia. Electoral Commission machine a oba yoko nko nguloga. Hafu makova do. Machine amaba. O Gazette by your Congo over 6,000 polling stations. A Chono Jago and Yapoga, over you might take Katawago. Registration at the Wagala district offices, Majopo. Afuma, Ameyonia, Electra Yauma, Midagana, Yafuma, Yaba executive host a song, no Yafuma, Afuma, Yaunu 50 Fiola, I don't know Yafuma, Yakanku. Ta Unqua, no machine Leo, machine. Also love Ashanti women. No, so we are one people. So the problem is not Ashantis. The problem is not even Achims. The problem is Akufo Addo and his small group of people who have decided to hijack power and manipulate the entire system to their political advantage. It is not even about MPP. MPP are Amoniolama. Amol MPP American Reagi Mahomachio. Tamia Mayola MPP ma. He can reagi him Mianyaba Mano. O Domi Bami Ava registration officials. Namiava and Riobami Awa. He come in Yomigawu. You want to MPP people, wherever you are, you know that what your Akufo Addo is doing is not good. He's destroying your own party. He has destroyed our democracy, has gone up 10, 50 years. This democracy that we tried to build, Akufo Addo alone with his family, they've taken this democracy back 10, 15 years. So MPP people who know that what is happening is not good, don't collaborate with him. This is not about NDC or about Voltarians against Ashantis or Achims. It's about the short man Akufo Addo. With a small group of people, there are people in MPP who are suffering, who are hungry. Only a few people, 5, 10 people, have hijacked the resources of this country, have hijacked the power of this country. As Okujato proved the last time, they have performed 14%. They know that time is catching up with them, the clock is ticking, and the people of Ghana will vote them out. That is why they are resorting to all these tricks. So, brethren, let's all arise. Let's all arise. Nobody can stop us. And come December 2020, they will go. 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 By rain, by thunder, by fire. No man, no woman, no devil, no electoral commission, no Supreme Court will stop us. The will of the people, the voice of the people is the voice of God, and we shall surely overcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, our elections director. For those of you who don't understand ever like myself, all the ever honorable ever spoke, the meaning was simple: 2 things. Go out there and register. And that President Akufo Addo should recall the military and other security personnel who have been deployed here. Thank you very much, Elections Director, for that powerful message. Ladies and gentlemen, at this stage, let us make welcome the parliamentary candidate for the Ketu South constituency, the incoming MP, Honorable Jifa Gumashi. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we each come with our own history, and I'll say this a little bit in English, and then everything I'll say will be in Aba. Many years ago, as a child, I witnessed the coming of President J.J. Rawlings. I was but a teenager, and the fire that was lit in this country, for those of us who were that age, we will never forget it. I am a product of that generation. I fear no gun. I was born in the barracks to a soldier father, and I married a soldier who became a general. I will not be afraid of a gun. I am more afraid of a pen. And so let it go down to those who care to know that I may be short. I may not come with much height, but that's okay. I have contemporaries, not so. So the fact that my height is what it is does not mean that I'll be intimidated by a gun. The uniform of the army, of the Ghana Armed Forces, is one that I will respect for the rest of my life, because I was born amongst them. I was fortunate to be a child, to follow the lives of our senior comrade, Totobi Kwache. And here, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you a secret. Many years ago, during the Pamscad area, if you remember, we were the little ones who followed them around like the foot soldiers of today. And Edina Matachi and I followed them to Cape Coast for a meeting. We were the young people who were serving. He instructed us to put his room in order. As soon as he stepped out, I jumped on his bed. And I told myself, I too will be here one day. And if by destiny and by fate, I am elected as the PM, the member of parliament elect, the candidate elect of Ketu South, you think I'm about to run away because there's a soldier on the street of Ketu? You think I'm about to run away because you have the power to send the military, my children, my wife, my husbands, my fathers? Because everybody in the army should look at me as their daughter, should look at me as their wife, and should look at me as their mother. You think I'm afraid? Think again. Think again. And change the dynamics, change the way in which we do politics in this country. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I worked at 31st December Women's Movement. I worked under Konedu Ajima Rawlings. Today she's well. We'll leave that story for another day. But working with Konedu, I learned so much. I am not afraid. Stop worrying yourself, intimidating yourselves. Unfortunately, the reason why we are here today, one of the reasons, is that not many people have the benefit that I have of being born in the barracks. And so really, when they see the uniform, they will be terrified. And it is the only reason why I'm speaking up. I am speaking up because you are terrifying people in this constituency who don't deserve that. The borders were closed, and so it affected the economic benefits that we get from the opening of the border. And to add insult to injury, you decide to come and intimidate us even to our homes, in our marketplaces. It is not acceptable. Yes. I call on His Excellency President Akufo, do the right thing by the people of Ketu South, and do the right thing by the people of Volta and Ghana. It is not acceptable. My other responsibility here today, this afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, is to, in brief, say what my brother, and I'm so proud of you, Fifi Kwete, for that brilliant submission that you gave. chocolate Joe. Mia novi mia ba MP bubuto onabo fifi kwete gbogbomba na. Awuya na jagoma fial katumi gbogboma. Manya bayo jagomo. Nyata foto na Kwame Nkrumah ya na domia ba Ghana dania. Yento ha ogbone manya Ghana to onyo. Nyata foto na mia ba founder President JJ Rawlings ha. Oble paba na manya Ghana to onyo. Amokle yikot ha. Bana na fia afi ocho kaka dada kata kocho mia domotowe. Ona bo fifi kwete gba pada mba na yento ha ogbona be manya Ghana to o ta flache ndogo po fifi kwete yento ha de yento ha ewe nanya anyi yola soma do da sha ni ochova mo tamare mara kama gbona be na de manya gogoto onyo ta fifi kwete a na yento bana de our forefathers will have mercy on the people like yento anamo don you know kwa forefathers all will deal with him alaba yento ha ogbona be na de manya avovio onyo tamanya gba otio anya kogloma le kuye kwenya bana manya ba na gbona madaba de yenya Ghana to alomanya Ghana to yenya nyao anya ko na odowo na naja na odowo na ja kwa amada kama tanwa globa na de you are do la jijio vovo ya vom ya to la de ye kwenya bana obodo na maja chon ye maja chota zuma vio gbagboma na yo mega ojimo anu matae vovo romde yo ko badagba va dara mi adomodo kafra badagba wa mi asronya mi afofonya mi avionya mara kama vovom na mara ko kwe kwa agbagboma na amiyo gbagboma na de mia togo mia no vio la togo ma oba vavara Ghana va dakoa ye naba mi dunajido ye do ta fla cheda nyamata labana adu yo malo gologu yo mi dujila manya gogoto kata onyo kaka regions gbogbo adoli ha mi dunajila ma ye nabana out of the elections yo kata mi wa mia NDC tode me oduji apa gbogbo to fifi kwete gbogbo ma na me mo to gada la togwama nya ha fani mato la fima ye nya ta pana de manya gbogbo la fima de wo ma va yi abana yo yi katanga ve na wo una now tami gbogbo no bana de na mi ta yi katanga ve na Ghana to ngugo kwa afi ba Ghana to mi on to ha mi lo ka fofo ya na do mi ayetai makomo nkpokpo ya ada kukuna seselo kata mi avovio mi cho mi ajujo mi adoko bobla mi ajujo ablu amablu lo do monono mi ano ahagbedola yoma mi awonwa ni to mi ado mi adako mi anwonko mi adako afia mi do bifia adalaji jo Mahama banyao mahia aji jifagu mashiba nyama mahia na nala hahia to ko wonwa ni to na nala hahia to ko mabalaka wonwa ni to amanafa alazu olaza olazuzu olaza akpana mi never odo.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, we are gradually coming to an end of today's program. But let me announce that after this event, we shall move straight from here to the palace of the Paramount Chief Togbe Fiti. And from there, we shall visit the border for you to see the deployment which has become the subject of today's press briefing. And that delegation will be led by our very own former National Security Advisor, Comrade Kofi Totobi Kwache. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, brothers and sisters who are watching this event, listening to us live, the message we have conveyed to you today is simple. Go out there effective tomorrow and register. No amount of intimidation should stop you. Because like the former president, who is the flag bearer and leader of the party, said, where there is a will, there is always a way. And no amount of intimidation, no amount of oppression can defeat the collective will of a determined people. And so let us go out there in our numbers without any fear or threat and register so that we will be able to exercise our right to vote come 7th December 2020. The victory of the NDC is coming again. The victory of the NDC is coming again. Thank you very, very much for coming. Friends from the media, we will get you the hard copies of the